Hello everyone and welcome to the start of our brand new series, Starter Base Houses.
Yay!
I'm Twix True.
I'm Equal Play.
And together we are Curious Gamers.
Woohoo!
There always has to be a woohoo. Sometimes it's EA.
Yeah, sometimes we'll even go really far out there and do a wahooza.
Oh, we're getting
You
sidetracked.
just never know.
We're getting sidetracked. Houses, starter bases.
Starter bases. This is our pilot episode, so would love to know what you think.
And we are going to be building this amazing house and base and everything that you can see in survival as a semi-tutorial.
So this sort of thing I tend to find quite overwhelming, so we are going to break it down for you, and trust me, this is super simple once he has explained the magic behind this.
It's such I promise this is such an easy house to build.
So we are building these on our personal Curious Craft server, which is our multiplayer server.
If you're on the server and you can work out where this house is, you may claim it and keep it for your own, as long as nobody has claimed it before you.
And you never know, one day we may come back and visit and see what you've done and what changes you've made. So that'd be really exciting for us to see.
Yeah.
So as you can see, this is a Cottagecore inspired build, which is done in a dark forest biome.
It does. And so I guess we should get on with it and should we go and start gathering some materials so that we can build it.
Yep. Because with the power of editing, we are going to go back in time to get the materials to then build what you see before you.
Yay.
So we'll see you there.
We'll see you in a minute. Let's go. We need to chop down these trees.
Yay, all the woods.
Yeah. This whole area, our house is going to be in this area. And there is a problem in that there's trees in the way.
There does seem to be a lot of trees. It's your favourite wood type, though.
It is. We need some of this in the build.
Good. I was about to say, I hope that we're going to be using a lot of these woods. You haven't made us go and search for ones too far afield, have you?
No.
Was that a... No?
We need some spruce and oak, but that shouldn't be too difficult to find.
Oh, there's some standard oak around here. Yeah, there's some standard oak around here, so just some spruce then.
Yeah.
Alright, not too bad. Knowing you, I know what you're like. Oh, this block will go perfectly, even though I have to go halfway across the entire server to go and get it.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but we need to find moss.
Oh god, not again. You and your obsession with moss every time we start a new world.
It's the best block in the world, in the game.
So, which build is this?
We are doing Cottagecore.
Oh, lush. Where was the inspiration from this one from?
Well, you know that other game we've been playing?
We've been playing. We've been minorly obsessed with a couple of games recently.
Yeah, the cleaning one.
The Powerwash simulator one, you mean?
That one.
Where we clean things with a power washer.
That one. So you know, in that game, there's the Hansel and Gretel house.
Yeah, that one's really cute with the big roof.
Massive, like slopey roofs. That's what the inspiration is.
Oh, well, that's a lovely build. It'd be really interesting to see that in Minecraft.
Yeah, so it's not going to be precisely the same as that because...
Oh, no, of course not. There's an inspiration, not copy. I mean, that's the key thing with a lot of like design stuff. Like, there's no such thing as a completely new thought. So yeah,
no.
Inspired by.
So it's a mixture of that. So that house was my first thought. And then when we mentioned that we would like to do a cottagecore type house, I kind of then started to think, well, what's cottage? And you know, the Christmas movie that is our favourite Christmas movie at the moment?
The postal worker one.
Klaus, yeah.
Yeah, Klaus. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, so that, and you know, he's like this, he's got this backstory of this, with this woodsman in the woods.
Well, I know that, but I doubt many people have seen it.
Well, it's a movie about a postal worker who gets sent to this far off, middle of nowhere, really cold place, and when nobody sends any letters, and it's a story about him, but also about this. He meets this guy called Klaus, and it's like a Santa Claus origin story, basically.
There's this really lovely imagery in it and stuff. So yeah, I can totally see how like wanting to capture that atmosphere.
Yeah, so it's the kind of that not his house, but his story with the Powerwash Simulator house is kind of the inspiration for this.
Okay, yeah, that'd be lovely.
Which meant that I had to find us a really, really deeply dark wooded area.
Yes, which...
and then clear the trees from it.
Yep. And of course we have been watching Joni Moon's videos as well. He does a lot of cottagecore. He does it with quite a few mods. But yeah, some of his builds are amazing.
They are. So yeah, because we've been watching a lot of those recently as well. So there'll be some elements of that in it without the mods, because he uses a cottagecore mod type thing, and we're trying to do this as a vanilla survival type thing.
Yeah, but it's really interesting, like, again, when looking for inspiration, it's not that one-to-one, it's the taking an idea from something, making it your own, combining it with other bits of inspiration, coming up with something new and different.
Yeah.
So what is cottagecore? So
cottagecore is a style of building or a style of look that celebrates kind of a cottagey rural life. So it's getting back to celebrating artisans and, crafts and artisan type crafts, like beekeeping or wood carving or...
Okay, so we're going to have some beekeeping stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
This is a really good location for a cottagecore, I think.
Yeah.
But also any forest would probably look good. Ooh, forests, plains. Where else would you put?
The giant tiger ones would work.
Tiger biome?
Yeah, massive spruce trees.
Would you place this build, or where would you not recommend this build?
You could actually put it anywhere, I think.
Interesting, smack bang in the middle of a desert or the ocean.
Okay, apart from the desert or the ocean, the end or the nether, it would look silly in all of those places.
Yeah, that's where I was going for. In all the places in Minecraft that you could build, where is this design probably not going to work, and where's best?
I mean, it wouldn't look as good in somewhere like the plains or savannah, or the badlands either. It could work, but you would have to change up the materials a little bit. So instead of dark oak and spruce, use some of the warmer woods like acacia and jungle wood or something.
Tell you what, if anyone is following this design, do tweet at us or send us a message on Discord with a picture of this build in like the weirdest place, but where you've swapped the blocks out to make it work.
But yeah, because it's got a really tall, pointy roof, so it's that cottagey feel of a really short wall and foundation with these massive sloping roofs on the top. And they look almost like if you saw it in real life, you'd wonder how it would hold up. But it can, because I've lived in houses like it, where it's mostly roof.
Oh, so much attic space.
Yes.
These really old places that you've got to handcraft. I mean, that's the thing with cottagecore, is everything in it has to be handcrafted because of all these ridiculous nooks and crannies in it.
Yeah, there's no popping to IKEA with a cottagecore house.
So, we've got the materials. We are all set for this build. I say we.
I say, shall I get to work then?
Yeah, off you go. I always find these like just really overwhelming. You see these end results of all these builds and they're fantastic, as everyone's seen already with this, with ours. The end result is amazing.
It's an amazing build. I'm really pleased with it. But so as you can see, is that it's actually not that difficult at all. I tend to do my builds in like phases, probably about 3 or 4 phases in total.
Okay, because I just get like really overwhelmed, like trying to get straight to the end result.
Yeah, no, you can't get to this. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Okay, how do you break this down then? What's your first step?
A shape.
Just a shape.
Yep. I decide on the vague shape that I want. It's very, very rarely a rectangle or a square.
Okay.
So this one I started with 2 rectangles.
I was going to say, well, this one. So you don't start with a rectangle, but 2 is okay.
But 2 is fine. Because I had the cottagecore idea in my head, I knew I wanted short walls a timber frame, and a gigantic roof. So that was my basis. I built some short walls and a timber frame first.
This is definitely a gigantic roof. I think this is one of the tallest roofs I've ever seen.
And then I just I knew in my head. So how I built the roof is I actually just had a picture in my head and thought, okay, I need it to be tall and I need it to be that double height type of thing, so that each rectangle I knew was going to be a different height.
Okay, and then that just helps break it up so that it doesn't look like just a block.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a square, which, let's face it, is the first thing all of us built in Minecraft ever.
That's why I still built in Minecraft ever.
But the roof, so I find roofs are fairly tricky. They're not my favourite thing to build, so I don't know why I chose to do the biggest roof I've ever done before.
I guess it's nice, but this is, aimed at starters, and it's nice for us to feel just as uncomfortable as they are.
Yeah.
So we've got the base shape, looking really great.
Yeah.
So, we just shove a door on it, and we're done?
No. This is step 1. There are many steps to come.
Oh, okay.
If you look at this shape, it's a little bit dull. So, next step would be to, take the flat bits of the shape and think, well, where looks a little bit flat and dull and boring, and put something on it. So in this one, I've got a extra doorway.
More rectangles. So you've just basically added some extra rectangles to the side of things, including sticking out of the roof.
Yeah. And then those things turn into extra rooms, extra windows. So you do drawing. You're a very good drawer and artist.
Oh, thank you.
But you know how you say that drawing is just a load of shapes?
Yes, this is a thing I have said. Okay.
So building. Building is just a load of shapes shoved together.
But in 3D.
In 3D.
So it looks like you've got a little bit of a chimney going on here as well.
Yeah, so then I put this last section on at the back here. And then I realised that there was this bit here that had nothing. It was empty, and it had nothing going on, and I didn't really want to add more doorways or more extra bits jutting out. So I thought that's the perfect place for a chimney.
So it does look fantastic, and like the step from the step 1 where you just had that really, really basic step, just by doing that again, like adding like a second layer of shapes has really, really added to this. And again, now that you've shown me and really broken it down, it makes this much less daunting to build.
And this chimney, it looks complicated, and I love this style of chimney, probably because they're so easy to build. It's just a bunch of cobble and stone in different types shoved together randomly to make a tower that's a bit wonky.
So yeah, I see a lot of texturing in that chimney. I mean, that detailing thing. So I see to start with, you've just used like one block, one type of block for each section. So I take it that, this detailing, texturing, where does that fit in?
That's you're happy with your shape. So this is a shape I'm fairly happy with. Next, you would start to add details. So this is where you'd poke out windows and doors. And it would be the first step. Choose where your windows and doors are going to go.
Is that best to do from the outside, or is that better to go inside the build and poke the windows from the inside out?
Depends. I actually built this from the outside in.
Okay, so that would be...
Yeah, I balanced the windows where I knew on the external house needed some detail or it needed breaking up.
And I see we've got things like windowsills with flowers.
Yes.
We've got some lighting, always good.
So yeah, I tend to shove lighting wherever I can to help. But also these new lanterns, I say new, they're ancient now. To me, they're new. And I tend to put those on the corners, especially with the cottagey medieval style builds. It just really looks cool that way.
It's a little bit of foliage and greenery just to sort of break up some of this big chunks of colour from the look of things.
So yes, this was partly because it was a cottagecore theme, and then partly because I created a gigantic roof. which created a problem for me in that there was lots of space that I couldn't do a lot of texturing on. And I didn't want to have 4 million windows, which would have been the other alternative is to have a lot of dormer windows.
So you've just used some greenery and foliage to sort of help do that detailing in other ways.
Yeah, to break it, it's just there to break up some of this flat roof.
It does look brilliant. And then and then we've got from that really, really basic single shape, added shape, and then added detailing, and also that detailing in the walls themselves, so then knocking out some bits and adding different block types of a similar colour in, but different textures.
Yeah, so texturing is where I went is usually one of the last things I do, and then I just randomly knock out blocks and put choose a palette of blocks and do that. So for the cobble, it was mossy cobble, bricks, cracked bricks, that sort of thing. For the woods, I just used the different types of wood.
So I can see how something really simple, you kind of build on it and build on it and build on it until you get something really fantastic. And breaking it down, it looks so complicated at the end, but when you break down those steps, you can see how you get there quite simply.
Yeah.
So we've got our shape, then shapes, then texturing, then and all our detailing. So how do we make this amazing house into a home? You know, I mean a base. How do we turn this into something that we want to live in?
So you've got to decide actually what you need in a base, and what you generally need in a base is a way to find food, place to farm stuff, and a place to store things. But you also want it to be pretty too. So any build is transformed from something really quite static by making sure it fits into the landscape. And that's what we do next.
Excellent.
So, well, one thing that we decided was really important for our bases is that they are made as safe as possible. So I built a wall.
I was going to say, hence this really nice wall. Also very, very much taken that inspiration from the source material.
It's a very Powerwash simulator Hansel and Gretel house wall. So for this, the story of this house, the story being that it's an artisan house, it's a person living in the woods, being fairly self-sufficient. They probably sell some stuff, do some trading. I actually started by looking at the space. Once I built the wall, I looked at the space and decided, okay, I need to have a bunch of animals in here. So I built some animal pens, was step one. Then once I'd done that, I then looked at the area and decided, what areas look a little bit dull. And the place I struggled with the most was this gigantic cliff.
That is a gigantic cliff.
I decided to build, that's where our mine would be. Then to break it up, I did a little bit of texturing, a little bit of greenery and foliage, and then I put a waterfall.
Which does really help. That does add just a little bit of that magic touch. Just so simply and quickly with a splash of water, a bit of blue, and that movement.
Yes. And then I also knew I wanted a shed because it's that artisan, so I wanted a workshop-y type area. So I built one in a similar style to the house.
Typical of you, isn't it? Oh, I've built this massive house. Do you know what? It needs a shed. I'm just going to make another base.
It's only a tiny one. You couldn't live in that. Then I put in the next important thing, which was farmland.
Farmland is important, particularly early on.
Farmland's amazing for taking up space. It adds life. It adds story. You can it changes this house in the middle of the woods into something that you can see is useful. You can see someone living here and being self-sufficient.
It does definitely add to that story.
Last step is detailing and lighting.
Lighting is really important, especially after you've gone to all that effort to build a wall around the whole place.
Yeah, so I did the trick with moss is still the best block in the game, and hid lots of lighting under moss carpets. We did little touches like this, like a wood pile for wood cutting. Lots of stacks of you can imagine pumpkins and storing hay for leaner times.
And for the animals.
And for the animals. So yeah, trees, detailing, lights. I went a little bit mad with bone meal.
Not too much. I mean,
But not too much.
Did cut it back a little bit as well.
Yeah. Then I think you have a really cool house in the middle of the woods. It's got story, it's got life, it's got movement, and you can also live in it, which is an important aspect of having a base.
That is quite important. On that note of living in it, while you were doing all this outside stuff, you set me the task of having a play with the interior.
Yeah, so should we go have a look?
Yes. So, let me give you a tour of the wonderful interior that I made. I'm quite pleased with it.
Oh, good.
So this is the front door.
Thank you.
Okay. So we've got a little seating area where you can come and sit with the doggies and pet the doggies. And first diamond.
Woo.
So what I actually also included up here is room for growth. So at the moment it's just this really cute little reading nook.
Aww.
But going forward, like if you sort the floor out a little bit more, there's space in here for a whole enchanting setup.
Perfect.
Down here we've got a little bit of functionality.
Well, yes, functionality is definitely important.
I do like functionality. So you got your furnace and an anvil. Up here we have a little mezzanine with
Your beds for sleeping.
beds for sleeping. And you're never too far away from a crafting bench. There's generally one in most rooms.
That's good. So it's amazing. This house looks gigantic from the outside, but when you actually get inside, apart from the roof, it's really quite small.
Yeah, I love these tiny little rooms. So coming this way, so this was all like a lot of that first shape that you made.
Yeah.
Really then, because what you then did was take that shape and then just added to it. If you come in through here, so this was actually, this little L-shaped bit was a bit that you added on. And up above us, you can see some of the original roof.
Oh wow, yeah, because I just built shapes and I added extra shapes on and more roof and...
Yeah, but I really love how that's really added to the story of this house, because you commented you have lived in houses where they've added bits and added extensions, and literally there were bits of roof inside the house like this.
Yeah, no, I've lived in houses like this where they've built around big boulders or built around pre-existing walls or roofs, just it was easier than taking it out.
Yeah, so I love that this is adding to story, and of course this is a whole space to add even more storage. So that's this more growth space as your base grows. So you could stay in this base for quite a long time. But this is just like a little eating area. And this is a little kitchen with pantry.
Yay.
Loads of storage up above again. Again, it's just a very, very functional, but looks great.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the interior of the house. Room to grow.
Fantastic. You did a great job. Shall we go and look at the other interiors?
So then, after I finished this, you were like, "You're not quite done yet." I built a shed.
Yeah, show me the shed and then I'll show you the mine. No, let's do the mine first. I'll show you the mine.
Okay, so you did this bit.
So I did a mine. It's very simple. I built a mine shaft into a cliff. There was a mine cart here. I don't know where it's gone. So this is just a mine shaft, load a bunch of storage, some furnace, and then I added a little bit of story in that you can imagine a mine cart travelling down to the mine and bringing things back up.
Yeah, I love that. Those little details that just bring the builds to life.
Yeah.
Such as, oh yeah, do you know what? I'll just build an entire additional build to it, and then ask equal play to fill it with stuff.
And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you. So yeah, this is the workshop. So again, you've got all your workbenches, plenty of storage all the way around. I added a little furnace.
And then made me add a chimney.
And then, so this is when your interior affects your exterior and things like that. So the location of the fireplace in the main build was because that's where you put the fireplace on the external.
Yeah.
And then so I put in this furnace, which actually is sitting on a whole bunch of workable furnaces. So this is like your super smelter. It's very manual, but there's a super smelter there. But it goes up into the ceiling where you then had to adjust the external of the build to include a little bit of a chimney.
Yeah.
So this is just where your inside and your outside do affect each other.
Yeah. So that was our first starter base series house, and it was a cottagecore one. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, do like and subscribe if you liked it and want to see more in this series.
We've got so many of these planned, so many different themes. I'm really excited.
I am very excited. But also, if you have like a particular biome or a particular style you'd like to see us do let us know in the comments below, and we'll get on that.
Yeah. So I think that does it for this. We'll give you one final swoop of the house as we go past, and we will say goodbye. Thank you for watching.
And stay curious.
Bye bye.